So like I said, like Don said, my name's Scott. This is Phil. We're going to race through this fast. This is a talk that we gave last week in an hour, and we're going to do it in 5 minutes. We cut out most of the slides for you. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Rover. Phil's going to talk about our technology, and then we're going to get to ask questions. So Don explained this a little bit. Rover is pretty simple. You got a dog. You need to go away from your dog. You can come to our website and find a dog sitter. That's how it works for dog owners. It's a two-sided marketplace. So if you'd like to be a dog sitter, you can come, you can sign up, you can fill out a profile, you set your own price, you're listed in the marketplace. People can contact, they click through to your member profile, they can contact you, say, hey, can you watch my dog next week, 2 weeks, etc. And you can work it out through our system. And then there's a transaction goes through our system. All of our sitters are insured by us. And to answer a question that I heard someone ask before, just answer it now, and then we take a small cut of the transaction, 15%. And in addition to insurance, all sitters have access to 24/7 vet care or vet consultation in case there's a problem with your dog. So the origin story of of Rover is it was a startup weekend project. Phil, almost 4 years ago. Almost 3 years ago. That's right. Phil and some other people were at a startup weekend and came up with the idea, and it's a real company. And pretty much the thesis and the idea behind it hasn't changed since then. We've since become venture-backed, Madrona, Foundry Group from Boulder, and a strategic partnership with Petco. So that's the story of who we are. Then the next question you got to ask is, well, that's kind of a nice little niche thing, right? But the interesting thing about Rover is it's like a way bigger opportunity than you think of. So the first thing you need to know about is there's about $6 billion of kennel boarding in the United States every year. That's a lot of money. Just for context, I was just reading a New York article. The total market for television advertising, for all the ads on TV, is $60 billion. Okay, so that's a lot of money. Problem with kennels is they're crowded, there's health problems, and most people go with friends and family, and the problem with that is they're unreliable. So, but the interesting thing we found out was only 1 in 10 people use a kennel. The other 9 people use their friends and family. So the real market opportunity here is big as the whole market for television advertising in the entire country, which is an enormous market opportunity. And so that's why we think Rover is pretty exciting, and we're having a lot of success. Let me show you about that a little bit. I took off some of the numbers here because they're confidential, but this is our growth chart in terms of all of our core metrics for the last few years. This is customers coming back on a cohort basis. Every cohort of customers has deeper and deeper retention. And then on the sitter side, this is a really interesting story. We have sitters now, not just who are listing themselves and making a few extra dollars, but who have turned this into a real job. This is one of our favorite sitters. Her name is Jen. She actually lives here in Seattle. She was a doctor. She quit being a doctor to be a full-time Rover sitter. It was more fun, a lot less stressful than going to work every day because she could watch dogs and have a good time because she loves dogs. So that is a quick story about Rover, and we're 3 minutes on the clock, Phil. And so Phil's going to tell you about our technology stack.
Python's easy.
Python, yeah, we use Python. So we as Scott said, we're a very heavy Python shop. So pretty much top to bottom, it's all Python. Pretty standard stuff: Django, Haystack, Celery. The kind of interesting one is right when we got to the point of trying to automate more of our infrastructure. We're experiencing this massive growth. How do we actually get to a place where we can really quickly spin up more pieces of our infrastructure as needed? That was right when something called Salt and Salt Stack were starting to come around. How many of you have used Puppet before? Raise your hand. Puppet, a few. Chef? Okay, there's some excitement there. How about Salt? Anybody use Salt Stack? Oh, got a couple. Okay, so it happened to just be the time when Salt Stack was coming around, and we were like, yeah, we use Python everywhere else in our stack, so let's use Salt. So we spent about 6 months kind of incrementally rolling everything to be Salt-based. So you want to destroy our entire environment, you can spin it up in just a few seconds with Salt. So if any of you are interested about deployment automation infrastructure and want to talk about it in Python, come find me afterwards.
It's actually a lot more interesting.
Did I just make that sound really boring? That was like when you say something and immediately it's followed up with, it's actually more interesting than that sounds. That's when you know you're not doing very well. So our team is pretty small, pretty tight-knit, a lot of really, really awesome engineers. We do 2-week scrums, and we're constantly shipping code. So the one small little, obviously we're hiring Python people, just if you know, and we're also looking to make our first internal mobile engineering hires. So yeah, come check out rover.com. We'd love to see you there, especially all you people with dogs.
For anybody who has a dog, that first URL up there is a $25 off your first day coupon code if you want to use it. Feel free to use it. Feel free to share it with your friends. And really quickly, I want to raise your hands there, guys. There's Chris Roby and Eli Thompson, who are 2 developers on our team. So after the thing, if you'd like to talk to some other people, you can talk to Phil or I or these guys. Thanks. Oh, you got any questions?
Oh, sorry, you right there with the, yes, glasses. We heard it was Corgi. Heard a Corgi one. You can specify small, medium, large, or giant dogs. So you can specify small dogs if you'd like. And yeah, sign up as a sitter. Sign up and say small dogs only, and you will have corgis coming out your ears. In the back.
Repeat the question.
I'll take it.
I'll repeat it so everyone can hear it. His question was, how do we decide what we're going to work on in a given day? It's sort of a 2 or 3 step process. It starts with, so we work in 2-week sprints. Every 2 weeks, the team gets together and makes a plan for the things that we're going to work on for the next 2 weeks. We use a lot of sticky notes and whiteboards to plot it out. We don't try and get too precise with our estimating. We focus more on getting a lot of stuff done. And so we make a plan for what we're going to do for those 2 weeks. And we use sticky notes. We line them all up on the left side of a board and move them to the right. Prior to that meeting that we have every other Monday, there's 2 different groups of people that get together and sort of do what we call pre-sprint planning. It's a very sexy name. They sort of talk about, okay, what is maybe work that's remaining from the last sprint that hasn't been completed because things came up? What are issues that have arisen in the last couple of weeks? And what are new projects coming down the pike from the business side of the house that we want to work on? So that's in a nutshell how it gets worked out. It's more of an art than a science. And it seems like the more scientific we try and make it, the less functional it actually is. All right. One more question. How about this fellow right here? So the question was, if you have a dog that has a behavioral issue, is it the kind of situation where you will, have your dog stay with a sitter once and then it'll be a bad experience and never get to use Rover again? The answer to that question is it sort of varies. So typically most sitters, not typically, sitters will list sort of their experience with dogs and their capability. So like if you came and looked at my profile on the site, and it's going to say, no, I've only had a dog for 3 years. You're going to read this and you're going to conclude.
It's also about an 8-pound.
My dog? You're going to read that I've had a little teeny dog for 3 years, so your dog with behavioral issues, I probably don't want this guy to watch it. You have someone like Phil here who's had dogs his whole life, who has been involved in dog rescues, dog CPR and everything like that. You'd be like, okay, this guy can probably handle my dog, so I'm going to contact him. So the next thing that almost always happens is that sitters and owners arrange what we refer to as a meet and greet before the stay. It's sort of a 2-way type of thing. Your sitter wants to see if they can handle your dog. You want to see if your sitter, this prospective sitter, is someone who you want to watch your dog. Maybe given your dog's situation, an apartment in the city isn't the right thing or whatever it is.
All right.
Thank you very much, guys. And Red and Brett, thank you for having us again. We've been here once before, and we really appreciate it.
Let's hear it for Rover.